In a quiet downtown neighborhood nestled between office buildings and cafes, there stood a historic hotel known as the Alderstone, a grand brick structure with ivy-covered walls and stories whispered through generations. The hotel had once hosted dignitaries and celebrities, but over the years its fame had faded. Now it stood as a charming yet modest place, offering warm rooms to travelers seeking comfort. And quiet among them was Jason, a soft-spoken former firefighter who had left the force after a tragedy that haunted his dreams. He now worked as a night security guard at the Alderstone, seeking peace from the sirens and smoke that had once defined his life. Every evening he made his rounds, flashlight in hand, nodding to late-arriving guests, offering a quiet presence in the long, empty corridors. The staff respected him, and the regulars knew him by name, but no one knew what he had been through or what strength still pulsed in his quiet steps one humid summer night as thunderstorms rolled over the city and electricity flickered through the streets. The hotel hummed with the murmurs of guests checking in and restaurant staff wrapping up their shifts. Jason stood in the lobby, glancing at the old grandfather clock, when he smelled something strange. A sharp, bitter scent drifting in through the air vents. He walked toward the maintenance closet, his heart beginning to pound. Then he heard it, a distant crackle, faint but unmistakable, the sound of flames. He raced down the hallway toward the source, his mind flashing back to a house fire years ago where he had lost his best friend and barely made it out alive. Smoke curled through the baseboards and the heat became suffocating. He reached the laundry room where he found flames crawling up the wall, feeding on detergent bottles and dry linens. The fire alarm hadn't gone off yet. Something was wrong with the system. He grabbed the nearest extinguisher and began to fight the blaze, but it was spreading fast with a roar. The flames reached the ceiling tiles, bursting them open with smoke billowing into the air, knowing the fire was too far gone to stop alone. He ran to the front desk, hit the emergency alarm manually, and picked up the intercom speaker. His voice calm and direct. He told everyone in the hotel to evacuate. Immediately, he guided guests through the hallways, knocking on doors, ushering people out, helping the elderly and calming panicked parents carrying children through the smoke-filled corridors. One by one, people made their way to the stairwells. The lights flickered out and the emergency lighting kicked in, casting a red glow over the chaos. Jason moved like clockwork. Never hesitating, each floor he cleared, each room he checked. Then he heard barking. A guest screamed that her service dog was trapped on the third floor. Jason turned and went back up 3 flights through the thickening smoke where the heat was unbearable, but he found the dog trapped in a room by fallen debris. He lifted the heavy furniture off the doorframe, coaxed the trembling animal out, and carried it in his arms down the hall, coughing and stumbling, but refusing to stop by the time he reached the stairwell. The building groaned above him, the fire spreading into the rafters. He emerged from the smoke, blackened, covered in soot, his eyes watering, but the dog safe in his arms as firefighters pulled up and began to take over. Jason pointed them to the hot spots, told them where the fire had started, where the guests had gathered, where vulnerable people were waiting. He collapsed, then breathing heavily, but smiling faintly as he saw everyone safe outside, wrapped in blankets and leaning on each other. The fire department later confirmed that the alarm system had been faulty, and without Jason's intervention, the outcome could have been devastating. News outlets ran the story, calling him the silent savior, the humble hero. Jason never sought attention, but guests returned to thank him. The hotel manager gave him a permanent suite and a plaque in the lobby, honored his name years later. Guests still spoke of the night. The Alderstone might have burned to the ground had it not been for the quiet, watchful man who ran toward the fire when everyone else ran away. And each time Jason walked those halls, he felt peace. Not because the fire was gone, but because he had become someone who could face it and still stand strong.